Welcome back and thanks for tuning in to another video where I show you a device. This time it's the Arturia MiniFreak, and there's a little bit of change of the formula because we're listening, we're reading. I will talk about the hardware beforehand, then I make 15 minutes of actual music, and then the conclusion comes afterwards. So it's not that stressful, and I have a feeling with this device I might even expand the 15 minutes because there's no rule without an exemption, okay? All right, so the MiniFreak, first of all, it was a gift from Arturia because I did some consulting for them. I'm in contact with Sebastian, and he asked me, from time to time, he asked me about opinion. The first time when I saw this new layout, I was a bit disappointed that it has a normal keyboard. Normal in the sense that it's still smaller than usual keys, right? But it's the keyboard they use on their controllers, which is a very, very good thing because the keyboard feels exceptionally good. So it's basically my favorite input MIDI controller when it comes to smaller keys. Very often they're very wobbly. I checked out the Hydrasynth Explorer's keys, which are polyphonic aftertouch, which is incredible, but the feeling itself is a bit plasticky, not that fulfilling. This one feels really good. Okay, so size-wise, another thing that has changed is it's pretty much double the size of the MicroFreak. Not exactly, but it's the same height and a tiny bit less than twice the width. I was disappointed about that as well because the Micro, a big part of the attraction of this synth is how small it is, while it's still capable of doing those incredible amount of different or unusual, while a bit thin every time sounds. There was very many minuses in between, wasn't it? Okay, the outside, yeah, that's it. And also of course it's a bit heavier, so just from its appearance, it feels like a normal synth, what the MicroFreak wasn't. Okay, simply the keyboard alone was so different than anything else out there that it's not really in a competition with the rest of the market simply because of that keyboard. I understand they changed it because it was a little bit of a can I say bitch without being politically incorrect? Do you know what I mean? So it was very difficult to handle, very weather influenced. So I once played a gig outside and like in the green, literally, and the keyboard was just spitting out nonsense all the time and restarting it using the official power supply instead of USB didn't do anything to it. So it was a bit of a pain in the, you know what I was about to say. Still, I wish they would have kind of brought this thing to a more stable level, or maybe it simply wasn't possible. So they decided, okay, we just use the normal keys. Still, it's 3 octaves, 2.5 would be fine as well. Okay, is there something else I want to say? No. Not really. So, oh yeah, I try to, this time I will talk about 2 separate things separately. Because everyone is loving this machine already out there in the YouTube world, I thought I'm gonna talk about the weak things that I found out at first, and then I talk about the sweet spot. So we start with the weak spot and go to the sweet spot. Isn't that catchy? Is it catchy? I'm not sure. Okay, so the clock starts now. One thing that is very obvious, the MiniFreak has bass. The MicroFreak still hasn't bass, like proper bass. This thing has. We're gonna hear that. What it doesn't has is a snappy envelope. So I found this one preset, it's called Hard. And unfortunately, even when I switch off the unison, that's the snappiest the envelope can get, the envelope gets, okay? Which honestly isn't that fulfilling. So if you're out there looking for the punchiest percussive synth, this isn't, okay? This thing won't satisfy your percussive needs. What doesn't mean it's useless in that sense, because it can be very, very useful having an additional percussion like pluckering in the background. I'm going to show you a preset later on, which does an incredible job of just filling a groove. And yes, this thing grooves as hell because the sequencer is powerful. It has modulation lines. The macros are very, very powerful to use. So it's an incredible amount of movement in here, but it's not necessarily snappy in the very forefront, just what you would expect from a real analog synth. Okay, just to make that clear. Another example would be the full kit. It's not, I mean, it's there, but for bass drum, come on, serious. Yeah. Now it has stereo effects. Let me see what those can do. Distortion. Without. Oh yeah. That's multicamp, okay. Without. Delay on. Different modes, filter sync, filter ping pong sync. No, just normal ping pong. Oh, I was wondering, can I implement, is that an assignable parameter? Oh yes it is. So even when I say it's the weak spot, very shortly you reach the sweet spot, okay? It's true. Okay, another one, a kick. Just the same example, really. Oh yeah, halftime. Okay, and then it has the, where's the phaser? Okay, the phaser. What's the distortion? Oh no, there's no. It's all bit crushed, okay. Oh, decimate. Okay. Then there's an init patch. Another thing that came to my mind while playing around with it was, that's the pure sound of it, okay? It has like all those great models for synthesis, and also it has 2 oscillators now, so it's very inviting to. Also, the second one can react to the first one. But if we look at the very basic sound of a synth, the bread, okay, and the butter is the filter. That's what it is. Let's put some chorus to it. And maybe some noise to the very top with the second. You saw this FM? which reacts on the first oscillator. Some noise. Okay, let me see if I can make it a bit more shine. What about the peak EQ? Switch it on. Frequency very high. Width a bit slow. Okay. Okay, a bit of reverb. I won't complain about the reverb this time. So that's a very basic sound. And what comes to my mind is the basic sound is a bit weak. Okay, so it's not that brilliant, even when I push it as far as I can. And also the basic saw, which is the basic for a normal synth. Well, this isn't necessarily normal, but I have to admit, because it looks like it looks and how it appears, it's easy to judge it as a normal synth, or it's in competition to other normal synths. And in here, even with effects and stuff, the standard sound, the basic raw material, isn't the most fulfilling. Okay, but again, the change from to okay is not too far away. Okay, so I hold this one, switch on the arpeggiator. Not that fast. I'm not the youngest anymore. Okay, and then let's make a pattern. So the only thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the gate and spice, long gate, short gate, a bit of spice, and then I roll the dice. And I also want the velocity to tweak parameters from oscillator 1. Wave, for example. And the timbre, because it's a French synth. Another dice. So, as I said, it's very easy to suddenly get into territory where it's becoming inspiring. Okay. Also, the layout and how things are reached, how logic everything is set up in terms of layout, and also in options and levels underneath. It's very, very good. Okay. It's, I should get rid of that. Okay. Where does it come from? Isn't it an American television show where someone says, okay, all the time? Isn't it South Park? I don't know. I grew up without a television, but that's long ago that I was a grown up. What was I about to say? There are tricks and very fancy stuff reachable at the touch of a button. For example, if you're programming a sequence, yeah, and then apply some modulation per step, it's totally possible over here. For example, okay, I thought it would. Okay, oh no. I cannot dial it in. I was too fast in doing something that I was too brave in doing something that I didn't practice beforehand. Okay, so there are 4 modulation lanes inside the sequencer, yeah? So I programmed the sequence. Very many presets coming. Oh, for example, there's a filter for the category, right? And you just press Shift and then you're looking for a sequence. Here you got some sequences, okay? It's just skipping through all of those. It's mostly resonance, but it's nice. I like it. Dub smash. Smallville Records, anyone? Put an 808 next to it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Nonsense. Celeste. Oh yeah, maybe it was the mods. Maybe I need to switch that on. Yeah, of course, I need to switch on record. And there I got it. Yeah, and there you got it. Okay. Can you and then say that? Okay, maybe I didn't. Okay, I didn't get it totally. Let me show you some more sounds. Okay, the clock is ticking. Even if I'm not gonna follow the 15 minutes rule. Okay, sound edit. Oh, here. Because I prepared the sound. Pads. This thing is amazing for pads. Okay, next one. Comments. 2 macros. I said the machine suddenly has bass instead of the MiniFreak. Let's prove me wrong. No. Yeah, so there is some bass in that machine. Another one? No, it's a keyboard. It's a key sound. A key sound. by the way. What do the macros do? Not that much? No. Decay and release, okay. Okay. Huge ghost. Ah yeah, that was a... It also can do leads. And those leads can lead to... Okay. I was wondering, what do we have? Delay, multicamp. The multicamp. The multicamp. Because this is glittery, but it's dirt. Do you hear that? It's noisy somewhat. It's brilliant, but it seems that to make it shine and glitter in the very, very top end, you need the multicomp. Okay, another one. I was talking about a sequence that can like run in the background without being too harsh, just like blah, blah, blah. Yeah, here you got one. Now let's swing. Tick, 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 tick. And again the multicomp. Yeah. Last one. was a bit broken, wasn't it? I love it. Okay, conclusion. So I'm afraid someone wrote in a comment section, and this kind of stuck in my head, the MiniFreak is not a freak anymore. That's not really true, in the sense that to get something very unusual out of it, you need to do how can I say, like, I really want to do it proper justice, and it's a very creative, very beautiful sounding synth, while not being as unconventional anymore. Somehow those different oscillator models don't really change the synth from top to bottom immediately. So it's always, they are somewhat similar. And I feel like the analog filter and the analog VCA, they even normalize it a bit more. I felt the MicroFreak had, for example, the speech was very harsh, and here it's a bit rounded. Everything is a bit rounded and friendlier, while the UI is very, very good. The modulation system is incredible. There's a individual LFO section where you can program the LFO with those buttons down here. It's just over here, and then like you can make your own LFO if you feel like. It has very many very, very deep tricks, and I don't know, as much as I want to love it, right? It's not really, I cannot open my heart completely to that device. How can I say? I'm looking forward to using it as a pad machine, and an interesting sounding pad machine. I remember the Hydra synth was very, very opulent. Is that an English word that is understandable? Like it can do very bright and very huge sounding stuff, while it's more traditional, coming from the traditional side. If you think traditionally here with this thing, you're not going to be satisfied. It really is a synth that shines once the modulation comes into play. The gate, spice, and dice idea with the different sequence arpeggiator modes. Here it's where it starts to shine, and I think like the audio I played says pretty much everything. And that's why I'm going to stop this review at this point. Thanks very much for watching. See you next time with the next device I'm going to show you. Thanks again. Oh, and thanks Arturia for sending it to me.